I'm Veronica Dudo. Tonight on EWTN News Nightly, all eyes forward after President Trump returns from the Middle East. The question remains, can the fragile ceasefire hold? As the shutdown enters its third week, lawmakers turn their attention to Obamacare and its upcoming expiration. We're on Capitol Hill, plus looking to the skies.
The Vatican is very clear that space should benefit all.
We'll introduce you to the new director of the Vatican Observatory. These stories and more tonight.
From EWTN, the Global Catholic Network, this is EWTN News Nightly.
Thank you for being with us on the Feast of St. Callistus. Our top story tonight, President Donald Trump called it an amazing and historic day, but now the world waits to see whether peace in the Middle East will take hold as complex issues remain. And just today, the president said phase 2 begins right now. He also warned Hamas about disarming and demanded the return of all the hostages. President Trump also pointed out discrepancies by Hamas in the specific hostage numbers. White House correspondent Owen Jensen reports.
Veronica, President Donald Trump says the job is not done and that the dead have not been returned as promised. And when it comes to Hamas disarming, he did not mince words.
President Trump, sir, is Hamas holding up their end of the deal, sir?
We'll find out.
The ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians returning home. Despite the complete destruction of infrastructure, the latest estimate is that $70 billion will be required to rebuild. Inside the White House, President Donald Trump tells reporters,
"We did something monumental. We got the hostages back. That was the first thing we had to do. Above all else, get the hostages back." Now, they misrepresented because we were told they had 26, 24 of dead hostages, if we can use those terms. And it seems as though they don't have that because we're talking about a much lesser number.
And on Truth Social, President Trump urges all those great countries that have fought so long and hard for the region have to come together and get the job done. Gaza is only a part of it. The big part is peace in the Middle East. Meanwhile, Israel identifying the remains of 2 hostages whose bodies were released by Hamas on Monday. But the return of other deceased hostages from Gaza progressing more slowly than Israelis had hoped.
But we're still remembering those who are still there, 24 hostages that were murdered in captivity or on October 7th and kidnapped to Gaza Strip, that we're still waiting to get them home very soon.
Also tonight, and still uncertain, the future governance of Gaza. And asked about Hamas disarming?
They're going to disarm, and because they said they were going to disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them.
How will you do that?
I don't have to explain that to you. But if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. They know I'm not playing games.
While the president continues his push for peace in the Middle East, he was greeting Argentina's president outside the West Wing. President Javier Milei on social media congratulating President Trump on securing a ceasefire deal in Gaza, writing, as translated, "Your commitment to life, freedom, and peace has restored hope to the world."
And your message to the people of Argentina, please.
We love them. We'll be there for them. And they have a great leader. They have a very great leader. Thank you.
President Trump also confirmed he will host Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Friday as they work to end the war in Ukraine. At the White House, Owen Jensen, EWTN News Nightly.
Karina Engelbert, her husband and 2 daughters were abducted by Hamas on October 7th. Engelbert, her children were released the next month as part of a temporary ceasefire. Sadly, Israeli Defense Forces confirmed the death of her husband in December 2023. Now Karina is waiting for his remains to finally be returned, but that hasn't happened yet.
Supuestamente teníamos que haber recibido ayer.
We should have received most of the bodies yesterday, not just 4. So for us at this moment, that part of the peace agreement signed with the help of Trump, his team, and the Arab countries is not working. Until the last hostage is returned to Israel, this episode is not over.
Las guerras no son buenas para nada ni para nadie.
Wars are not good for anyone. In wars, there are no winners, only losers. The time has come to end all this and ensure that what happened on October 7th does not happen to anyone else anywhere.
And Ricardo Griechner, uncle of Omar Weinknart, a released hostage, joins us now. So your nephew was previously released an earlier phase after 505 days in captivity. Does he know any of the hostages released this week? And what are his thoughts as he watched with the rest of the world, but of course through a very different lens, what just happened?
Yeah, so Veronica, Omer was held in a tunnel about 50 meters below ground level. He was there together with Aviatar David and Guy Gilboa Dalal. Unfortunately, when he was released in February 22nd, he had to watch them staying away behind. They were brought to the ceremony of his release. Actually, they opened the door of a van. He saw them over there. It was just, trying to be malicious, showing them that Omer is getting released while they are remaining in Gaza in the tunnels, still in captivity. So Omer returned, and on February 22nd, he got back home, and he started the healing process, but he couldn't make a full recovery because half of his body was still in Gaza. He knew that they are still there. He was with them. They were, of course, starved. The treatment was very bad. They didn't receive any information, any medicine, any treatment, no fresh air. And he lost 37 kilograms of his body, which was about 40% of his body weight. So when he was released, he was very slim. And yesterday we had a holiday in Israel, which is Simchat Torah. So we had a nice dinner. And actually this was the first time that Omer actually was able to really smile and get comfort of the situation because he knew that his comrades came back. Now, yesterday, 20 of our people that were alive were released after 738 days, which Veronica is more than 2 years in captivity. Part of the people lost 30%, some of them 40% of the body weight. They look very bad. And we still, unfortunately, have 24 people that were killed by the Hamas. They are holding their bodies. This is the situation right now.
Ricardo Griechner, uncle of Omar, thank you so much for sharing your family story.
Thank you very much, Veronica. We will not wait until the last one. We will always pray for all the hostages to return home to Israel until the last one. Thank you.
Now that aid is starting to arrive in the Gaza Strip, the Holy Father is sending 5,000 doses of antibiotics to the territory. The shipment is primarily for children who have been the most vulnerable victims of the 2-year war. It was organized through the Office of Papal Charities. In an interview with Vatican News, the head of the prefect of the dicastery for the service of charity said, quote, "We are giving concrete follow-up to the words contained in the apostolic exhortation De Lexi Te, dedicated to the poor. It is necessary to move from words to deeds to pay true attention to those in need." Turning now to the U.S., it's day 14 of the government shutdown with no end in sight. Senate Republicans took to the floor once again today to vote on the recent House-passed Clean Continuing Resolution to fund the government. But once again, Democrats voted it down. Capitol Hill correspondent Eric Rosales joins us with the latest. Eric.
Well, good evening, Veronica. Yes, this was the 8th time Democrats blocked the Clean CR from passing, which would have funded the government till the end of November. Now, Democrats are digging in, demanding that the Republicans restore over $1 trillion in health care cuts and permanently extend Obamacare subsidies, which are set to expire at the end of the year. But Republicans point out, even if they wanted to do that, House Speaker Mike Johnson says that it would be a complicated process.
If indeed the subsidy is going to be continued, it needs real reform. But there's a lot of ideas on the table to do that. Probably 100 different ideas on how to fix it, but we can't do that overnight. That requires the month of October and probably part of November to get the consensus built around that.
But Democrats say they are standing strong.
And address the health care crisis that they've created, including by extending the Affordable Care Act tax credits. That's what we need to do right now.
Speaker Johnson adds Democrats' plans have no way to pay for the extensions.
It is impossible and it is inappropriate for Democrats to demand what they know what they're saying isn't true, to demand that should be part of the negotiation today for a simple continuing resolution.
Right now, some 24 million people are on Obamacare, and without the extension, its estimated premiums would more than double, resulting in more than 4 million people losing coverage because they simply can't afford it. But conservative groups say it will cost the government $350 billion over the next decade to continue.
There are better ways to do it than what is being done today. The system that we have today can work better for those people and better for the taxpayer if we reform it.
Other Democrats are urging President Trump to get involved and negotiate a deal.
A lot of my Republican colleagues share the concern about folks they represent losing health care, seeing the premiums go up by $10,000 or $15,000. They share that concern, but they don't feel authorized to act without Trump. So Trump can be a hero here.
It is important to note that President Trump has said that he is open to extending the subsidies, but he wants to get the government open now first with a clean CR. About 3 out of 4 Obamacare enrollees live in states that Trump won in 2024. At the Capitol, Eric Rosales, EWTN News Nightly.
6 are dead in U.S. strikes on another boat allegedly transporting drugs off the coast of Venezuela. This is the 5th strike on alleged drug traffickers, which is part of the Trump administration's crackdown on drug cartels. The president said the boat was traveling along a known drug trafficking route and the strike was carried out in international waters. Anti-government protests continue across Madagascar as thousands voice their anger at power outages, poverty, and alleged corruption.
We do not get a constant supply of electricity and water from the government. If Malagasy children are studying in darkness, where will the future of this nation be? Where is the wealthy Madagascar that many countries envied? The country is rich in minerals, but we're living in extreme poverty. We cannot treat ourselves when we are sick, unless we have money.
Earlier today, an army commander who led a mutiny in Madagascar announced the military had taken power after President Andry Rajoelina was impacted by lawmakers. He was accused of activities deemed incompatible with presidential duties. On Sunday, the president fled the country aboard a military plane in fear of his life. We have a lot more still to come on EWTN News Nightly. A flex of power. China will soon install a bishop without Vatican approval. What it could mean for an already shaky agreement. China will soon install a new bishop in Shanghai elected to the office without Vatican approval. Father Joseph Wu Jielin was chosen by the Chinese government on April 29th. This was during the interregnum period between Pope Francis and Pope Leo. Tomorrow he is set to be installed. Joining us now to talk more about the move is Francis with the Committee for Freedom in Hong Kong Foundation. Francis, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So what more do we know about Father Joseph Wu Jielin and why he was chosen?
Well, we know that he is one of the people, this is one of the examples of China violating the Vatican-China deal of allowing Vatican to have a say, the final say of appointed bishop. This time, obviously, China has violated that deal. It's not the first time. And we have known that in the past that this has been done. And this time, it's specifically when, the Holy See, it's not, it doesn't have a gap. And it was actually right after Pope Francis passed away. And so, China definitely take advantage of that gap to appoint someone as a bishop without the Vatican's agreement. And so, we have seen time and time again, China is violating that deal with Vatican, and, they're not respecting religious freedom. They're not respecting the people on the ground, whether or not they are, the Christians that are in the underground church or the state-controlled church. I would say there's no respect at all, and this is the time when we have to think about how we can protect the integrity of the church, and it's really a slap on the face for all of us, in the Catholic community to think about our relation with China.
Now tell us about the so-called church that is underground right now, and what effect might this have on them?
I think, the deal that Vatican has with China can be seen as a betrayal for Catholics that are in the underground church, because for a very long time they're only loyal to the Vatican, to the Holy See, and the state-controlled church require the church leaders to take an oath of fidelity to the government. And so when this deal was made, there have been criticism on, within China and, also among the global Catholic community, of just, it feels like an abandonment for many of them who have been struggling and resisting the state power to take control of the religion in China. And I think in Hong Kong too, I am from Hong Kong, and I have seen the crackdown of democracy movements in Hong Kong in the past few years, and I've seen the quiet takeover of the religious communities in Hong Kong. We also often overlook that because Hong Kong is not. It still has some distinction from China, religious policies. It's not entirely under China's, religious policy in the mainland, but we definitely see that slowly encroaching to the Hong Kong religious community. So there have been a lot of concerning trends that we're seeing.
Frances Hui, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Up next on EWTN News Nightly, Faith Meets Science. We'll take you behind the scenes at the Vatican Observatory and introduce you to its new director. Plus, Pope and Martyr, the extraordinary life of a saint we are celebrating today. Pope Leo XIV paid a visit to Italian President Sergio Mattarella today. He emphasized the close collaboration between Italy and the Holy See to promote the common good. The Holy Father thanked the Italian government for its work to alleviate situations of hardship caused by war and poverty, especially efforts to allow Gazan children to receive treatment at the Vatican's hospital. The Pope also noted how the Church and the Italian state work closely together to promote peace. Not many people know that the father of the Big Bang Theory was a Catholic priest. It's just another example of how faith and science are intrinsically linked. The Vatican even has a long history of helping the exploration of space. EWTN Vatican News correspondent Valentina Di Donato has that story.
We're here at Castel Gandolfo, and this is where the Pope's summer residence is, right behind me. And this gate you probably have also witnessed a lot recently. It's where Pope Leo has been coming out and speaking with the press, and he even answered one of our questions quite recently. But behind this gate is one other very special thing, the Vatican Observatory, one of the oldest in the world. And we are about to give you an inside glimpse and speak with Father De Souza, who also is the new director of the Vatican Observatory. Father Richard De Souza is an astronomer and a Jesuit who is bringing us inside one of the oldest active astronomical observatories in the world.
I think there is a very deep element here which is not often talked about. I think in the sciences, one needs faith. One needs faith to understand that what one is doing, searching for, trying to discover, will finally bear fruition. That one will be even able to understand the natural phenomenon that one is researching.
And space has been worth protecting. Father De Souza explains how the Vatican has been and continues to work against outer space arms buildup.
In recent years, this has become a very pressing issue, partly because a number of countries are investing huge amounts of money, especially after the commercialization of space. Space travel is now in the hands of private companies, to make sure that those countries who do not have space technologies are not left behind. And the Vatican is very clear that space should benefit all.
Popes throughout the generations have been active and deeply connected on the forefront of space in a way that is not typically known.
From this particular domes, Paul VI addressed the astronauts, addressing them as the famous voyagers of the oceans and the seas, reaching up to the highest heavens, which is a lovely address which one can read on the Vatican website. And after he addressed the astronauts, along with Father David O'Connell, he climbs up this particular platform, looks at the moon through this particular telescope.
And what about Pope Leo XIV?
I think Pope Leo is fascinated with Castel Gandolfo as a place. He's very knowledgeable of the fact that this place is historic from the viewpoint of astronomy. His visit here was extreme blessing for us. Yeah, he was very humble, he listened to what we had to say, but he was also interested very much in what his predecessors did.
Pope Leo XIV got to speak with one of those other astronauts himself after his visit to the Vatican Observatory, taking time to speak with Buzz Aldrin on the anniversary of the Apollo landing. Faith and science are not at odds with each other, but often go hand in hand. In fact, as Father de Souza explains, it was a Belgian priest, Father Georges Lemaitre, who gave us one of the most widely accepted theories of the beginning of the universe.
The founder of the Big Bang is Father Georges Lemaitre, and he's a Belgian Catholic priest who in the 1920s, immediately after Einstein published his theory of relativity, takes the equations of Einstein and tries to apply it to the universe.
In Castel Gandolfo, Valentina Di Donato for EWTN News Nightly.
Today, the Church celebrates the feast of Saint Callistus I, Pope and Martyr. While his exact date of birth is unknown, we do know he was martyred in 222 AD. It's believed he was a slave and sent to work in the mines. Eventually, he was freed and became a deacon and caretaker of a major Roman cemetery that took his name. In 219, he became pope and was accused by his rigorous enemies of being too lax for teaching correctly, that even those guilty of grave sins could be forgiven after a sincere repentance. He was most likely martyred during a popular uprising. The catacombs of Callistus became the burial place of many later popes. Pope St. Callistus, pray for us. We thank you for watching tonight. Remember, you can follow us on social media, Facebook, X, and Instagram at EWTN News Nightly. I'm Veronica Dudo. Good night and God bless.